He's flying over basically the middle of nowhere when he sees a startling and unusual formation amongst the rocks below, which of course, he photographs.
When the film is developed, the captain is surprised to see what appears to be the remains of a large ship, far inland and 6,500 feet above sea level.
After 5,000 years, the world's oldest mystery may have just cracked open. In the high mountains of eastern Turkey, scientists uncovered a formation eerily shaped like a boat, matching the exact dimensions of Noah's Ark as described in ancient texts. But when they peered beneath the surface using ground-penetrating radar, what they found wasn't legend. It was structure, ribs, corridors, organic traces. Now, after decades of silence, the Ark may be revealing its secrets. And what's emerging isn't divine comfort, it's something far more terrifying. A warning buried in stone, and it may have arrived just in time. The discovery of the boat-shaped mound. In October 1959, a Turkish army captain named İlhan Darupınar was reviewing NATO aerial photographs of eastern Turkey when he noticed something strange. A ship-shaped formation, nestled in the rugged foothills of Mount Tenderek, about 29 kilometers south of the biblical Mount Ararat. The structure measured approximately 538 feet long, or about 164 meters, and had an unmistakable outline, symmetrical, curved, and almost deliberate. The region had recently been rocked by the 1948 earthquakes, which, along with heavy seasonal rains, had partially exposed the mound. Its profile suggested something impossible, a boat, stranded high above the floodplains. The formation lies in Ağrı province, just 3 kilometers from the Iranian border, at an altitude of nearly 2,000 meters. It is known today as the Darupınar site, named after its discoverer. From the ground, it resembles an elongated ridge, but from the air, the outline is shockingly precise. Locals in the nearby village of Uzengili recalled stories of a strange shape appearing on the mountain following seismic activity. Early visitors noted that it aligned eerily well with descriptions found in ancient texts, especially the Book of Genesis. That biblical account, written over 2,000 years ago, gives the Ark's dimensions as 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Using one interpretation of the ancient cubit, approximately 52.4 centimeters, the vessel would measure 157 meters in length. That's just 7 meters shorter than Darupınar's full span. While the Ark was long assumed to be metaphorical or mythological, suddenly a real-world candidate was drawing global attention, not through relics, but through shape, scale, and silence. Archaeological interest intensified in the 1960s and 70s, with Turkish researchers and visiting Americans launching early surveys. Some dismissed the find as a natural syncline, a rock fold shaped by erosion. Others, however, believed there might be more. In 1987, a team led by Ron Wyatt and Turkish officials conducted preliminary metal detection surveys and ground assessments, reporting unusual findings beneath the surface. Yet without excavation, the site remained a question mark. Still, that shape, so sharp, so ship-like, continued to haunt imaginations. The outer form was compelling, but it was only the beginning. What lay beneath the soil would prove even stranger. Decades later, as imaging technology improved and more soil samples were collected, researchers began to piece together a more unsettling puzzle. Darupınar wasn't just shaped like a ship. Its interior, its chemistry, and its structure held patterns no random rock formation should have. The Earth was whispering something old, perhaps something preserved from a cataclysm none of us remember. What researchers found inside the mound. Beginning in 2019, a new team of researchers known as Noah's Ark Scans began analyzing the Darupınar site using advanced tools. Their most significant discovery came not from digging, but from data. Ground-penetrating radar GPR and resistivity scans revealed a series of rectangular voids, layered compartments, and tunnel-like channels inside the mound, all buried under 6 to 8 meters of sediment. These anomalies weren't random. Many ran parallel or formed right angles, spanning widths of 2 to 4 meters and depths consistent with habitable space. Soil samples taken during 2022 to 2024 revealed something even more unusual. The organic content inside the mound was almost 3 times higher than the surrounding terrain. Chemical tests revealed elevated levels of potassium, phosphorus, and unusually low pH values. These markers are associated with decaying wood or other long-dead organic matter. More than just rock, the soil was acting like a fossil, preserving the chemical ghosts of something that once lived or was constructed within. These signals lingered despite thousands of years of erosion and weather. Marine sediments within the mound added a haunting twist. Embedded in the soil were traces of clay-like marine deposits, microscopic shell fragments, and salt crystal residues, all evidence of past submersion. But the site lies nearly 2,000 meters above sea level. For these materials to be present, some kind of ancient flood must have risen high enough to carry marine debris into the region, or the object had to originate from below and somehow rise to this mountaintop. Either way, it pointed to a violent interaction between sea and stone. The final shock came from carbon dating. Multiple independent labs tested samples from different depths within the formation. Results consistently placed the material between 3,500 and 5,000 years old, an era aligning with Mesopotamian flood myths and early Bronze Age civilizations. While not definitive proof, the consistency of organic decay, internal architecture, and marine materials suggested something extraordinary had once been here, something preserved in both time and earth. Evidence was mounting: layers, voids, organic decay, even marine fingerprints. But it wasn't just what was found, it was how perfectly the structure matched the most famous story ever told about a flood. The next step was to measure, to compare. When researchers aligned the mound's proportions with ancient texts, the numbers spoke louder than any relic. The story of a vessel, handed down through millennia, now had a geological echo on a remote Turkish mountain. The dimensions and structure matched the legend. The Dürüpünar site measures approximately 538 feet, or 164 meters, in length. According to one of the most common interpretations of the ancient cubit, the ark described in Genesis was 157 meters long, 26 meters wide, and 15 meters high. The visual match is startling. Measured from base to crest, the mound's dimensions fall within a 4 to 5% margin of that estimate, closer than most modern reconstructions of the biblical ark itself. Scans conducted between 2019 and 2023 suggest that the formation includes 3 vertically stacked layers, or zones, reminiscent of the lower, second, and third decks, described in Genesis 6:16. A long, continuous channel, possibly a corridor, was detected running lengthwise down the center. The structural patterns don't resemble typical rock strata. Instead, they resemble something planned, like the skeleton of a ship. From a technical standpoint, these features go beyond mere coincidence. The overall silhouette also supports the case. From drone footage and satellite imaging, Dürüpünar's outline resembles a boat's hull, broad in the middle, tapered at both ends, and visibly symmetrical. Geologists argue it's a coincidence of nature, but archaeologists and engineers note how such symmetry rarely arises in rock folds. In 3D models, the shape aligns closely with maritime vessels designed to displace water efficiently, not the product of mud flows, but of engineering. What completes the eerie alignment is the site's altitude, 1,980 meters above sea level. Whether natural or not, the structure rests far above any ancient riverbed. Its presence here, so high, so isolated, supports the ancient claim. Not that it was built here, but that it came to rest here. If it is a vessel, then this was its final anchorage, and perhaps its final message. The terrifying realization. As the internal scans from 2019 to 2023 became public, the world began to reckon with the deeper implications of what might lie beneath the surface of the Dürüpünar mound. If the voids and internal corridors were indeed real, and not just geologic anomalies, then this wasn't just a natural feature shaped by erosion or plate movement. It could be a man-made vessel, fossilized and buried for more than 4,000 years. Such a structure would stand as one of the oldest engineered artifacts on Earth. The presence of high organic matter and persistent decay markers, including potassium spikes, pH irregularities, and elevated carbon residues, meant that something once alive, or built from living material like wood, had long since decomposed inside. Researchers noted that the decay pattern was consistent with large timbers, perhaps even plank structures, that had slowly broken down over millennia. The soil chemistry acted like a chemical shadow, recording the presence of a vanished form, no longer visible to the eye. Perhaps most unsettling were the marine sediments and shell fragments embedded within the core samples. These materials are not only unusual at 1,980 meters elevation, but point to a past catastrophe, a flood event or oceanic incursion powerful enough to scatter sea life across a mountain. These weren't artifacts of modern erosion or landslides. The particle layering and embedded salt traces matched patterns seen in coastal submersion events, such as those studied in tsunami zones. The overarching question was no longer, is this the ARK? It became far more serious. If these structural and chemical signs were accurate, then someone, or something, survived a massive cataclysm and built a vessel to preserve life, cargo, or history. Whether religious or not, the implications hit hard. We might be walking on top of a fossilized rescue craft from humanity's darkest hour. The evidence wasn't treasure, bones, or metal. It was the silent residue of survival. The terrifying potential of what lay beneath stirred not just the scientific world, but the cultural and spiritual imagination of millions. But in the midst of mounting excitement, a sharp divide emerged. Belief met skepticism. Faith met geology. As researchers and theologians clashed over the site's meaning, the story of Darupanar became more than a scientific investigation. It became a battleground between myth and reality, between what we want to believe and what we can prove. The battle between myth, faith, and science. The idea of Noah's Ark resonates across Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, each of which holds ancient flood narratives involving a great vessel and a divine warning. In all three traditions, the Ark is more than a boat. It's a symbol of survival, judgment, and hope. The Darupanar site, resting just 29 kilometers from Mount Ararat, aligns closely with the region described in Genesis 8:4, which states the Ark came to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. For many believers, that detail alone feels like confirmation. But science is not faith, and faith is not evidence. Geologists examining the region since the 1970s have repeatedly pointed to alternative explanations. They argue the formation is a synclinal fold produced by the natural warping of sedimentary rock. Earthquakes, landslides, and mudflows, they say, could have shaped the ridge into a boat-like appearance over millions of years. Some researchers from Istanbul Technical University noted in 1988 that the rock composition matched local volcanic patterns, not ancient carpentry. In response, the team behind Noah's Ark scans has urged caution. They have not declared the site to be the Ark, but rather a place of profound anomaly, a structure with layered compartments, high organic decay, and features worth further exploration. As they have emphasized in presentations since 2020, the findings are suggestive, not conclusive. Without physical excavation, definitive proof remains elusive. And even then, interpretations may differ. The divide has grown sharper in the media. Tabloids scream "Ark found," while academic journals remain reserved, skeptical, and often dismissive. Yet the tension adds to the intrigue, because if this structure is natural, then nature has a remarkable sense of mimicry. And if it's not, then ancient memory, long dismissed as myth, might be the record of a real planetary trauma, one etched into the landscape itself. As voices clashed and theories multiplied, new eyes turned toward Darupanar, not with shovels, but with machines. Technology had become the great equalizer, offering a way to see without touching, to confirm without destroying. The 21st century brought tools that those in the 1950s could only imagine. And as scanners, sensors, and spectral analysis descended on the mound, a different kind of truth began to emerge, one revealed not by belief, but by precision. The technology, unlocking the secrets. Over the last 5 years, technological advances have transformed the study of the Darupanar site. Beginning in 2019, researchers deployed ground-penetrating radar, GPR, and resistivity imaging, scanning down to depths of 12 meters without disturbing a single stone. These non-invasive techniques allowed scientists to open the mound virtually, revealing voids, layered anomalies, and longitudinal channels. The results suggested not just hollows, but structured emptiness, shapes and spaces arranged with purpose. Soil chemistry added another dimension. Samples analyzed in 2022 and 2023 showed consistent patterns of decomposed organic matter, with indicators pointing to long-decayed timber. Elevated potassium, carbon isotopes, and altered soil pH were found in every internal core sample. These were not random pockets of biology. They formed a gradient, highest toward the center of the formation and tapering outward, as if something large and organic had once stood in place and rotted over time. Advances in software also played a key role. Teams used AI-driven pattern recognition to reprocess older scan data from the 1980s and 90s, revealing structural alignments previously missed. Imaging suites used for urban archaeology were adapted to the Darupanar site, helping generate full 3D simulations of what lies beneath. These virtual reconstructions show what appears to be an organized, multi-level interior, complete with curved outer ribs, lateral beams, and internal corridors. Yet, excavation remains off the table, for now. The region lies within an active seismic zone and endures brutal winters, with temperatures dropping below -20 degrees Celsius. Any disruption risks collapse or permanent damage. For that reason, the team's focus remains on non-destructive inquiry. With each new scan, the picture becomes clearer. Darupanar isn't just a mystery, it's a time capsule, one sealed not by stone, but by silence, a waiting message from a time long past. The global impact, if true. If the Darupanar mound is proven to be an ancient vessel, the global consequences would ripple across science, religion, and culture. First, it would dramatically revise the timeline of human engineering. The vessel, over 164 meters long, with 3 internal decks, potentially dating back to 3000 BCE, would predate known large-scale shipbuilding by millennia. That would challenge existing models of Bronze Age technology and suggest civilizations were capable of constructing massive ocean-going vessels far earlier than historians ever believed. Second, it would validate the idea that catastrophic flood events are not just mythology, but shared memory. The story of a great deluge, from Gilgamesh in 2100 BCE to Genesis to Quranic accounts, spans cultures from Mesopotamia to India. If this site holds physical evidence of a massive flood event, then myth becomes history. Archaeology would have to reckon with stories long dismissed as allegory, and flood geology would gain new momentum as a legitimate scientific field. Third, the religious implications would be seismic. This would be the first time a major sacred object described across Judaism, Christianity, and Islam was physically located and verified. It wouldn't just strengthen faith. It could realign doctrinal interpretations and renew interest in shared theological roots. Pilgrimage to the Darupanar site would likely explode, turning it into a UNESCO heritage zone, drawing millions from across the world each year. Finally, the discovery would shape modern fears in unexpected ways. If the ARK was real, the flood was real. That raises new questions. Could it happen again? Was it divine or planetary? Could climate instability lead to another catastrophe? The ARK, once a symbol of past survival, could become a warning about our own fragile future. But every great discovery walks a knife's edge. For every theory, there's a counterpoint. For every believer, a skeptic. As scientists wrestled with the magnitude of the findings, a wave of caution rolled in. Critics, geologists, and methodical minds demanded restraint. Could this really be a man-made object? Or were we seeing what we wanted to see? A pattern in stone shaped by time and tectonics, not by hands. Skepticism and negative findings. Despite the mounting intrigue, many experts remain unconvinced. Since the site's discovery in 1959, dozens of geologists, including researchers from Ankara University and California State University, Northridge, CSUN, have classified the Darupanar Formation as a geological syncline, not a vessel. They argue that the boat-like shape is the result of mudflow patterns, limonite accumulation, and earthquake-driven folding, common in sedimentary mountain ranges. Critically, no direct artifact has been found. No wood beams, no iron fasteners, no tools. Without physical remnants, the claim remains speculative. Even GPR and soil chemistry can produce false positives, especially in zones with mixed volcanic and flood sedimentation. The marine deposits, while curious, could have arrived through ancient inland seas or through Pleistocene glacial meltwater events, scenarios documented across Anatolia. Preservation also presents a major hurdle. The region's high altitude, combined with landslips, snow loads, and tectonic instability, make excavation dangerous. Any full dig risks destroying the very evidence it's meant to uncover. In 2021, a minor tremor cracked one flank of the mound, prompting fears that the formation might degrade before conclusions can be reached. The team has had to halt exploratory drilling several times. Finally, the hype itself poses a danger. Past declarations of ARK discovery, like those in 1987, 1994, and 2011, ultimately fell flat, undermining credibility. The current researchers warn that rushing to label the site as Noah's Ark before peer-reviewed validation risks alienating academia and discouraging funding. The caution is clear. Until the evidence is irrefutable, this site remains a candidate, not a certainty. Yet even amid skepticism, something extraordinary happened. As technology scanned deeper and data came into focus, the digital models began revealing what pickaxes could not. In the virtual space, the mound opened up. And what those scans showed, ribs, chambers, decks, was not chaos. It was symmetry, structure, design. Even without a shovel in the ground, researchers were already inside. The opening moment. While a full-scale excavation hasn't yet occurred, the Darupanar mound has already been opened in the digital realm. Using multiband GPR, 3D tomography, and resistivity mapping, researchers from the Noah's Ark Scans project visualized the interior. What they found stunned them. Layered compartments, repeating vertical ribs, and voids arranged with geometric regularity. These were not scattered fractures. They formed patterns. The kind nature doesn't often build, but engineers do. One particularly compelling model, produced in 2023, showed a series of longitudinal beams spaced 3.8 meters apart, with cross-bracing segments every 1.2 meters. These dimensions are suspiciously close to those needed to stabilize a multi-level vessel. A central corridor, approximately 1.5 meters wide, ran the entire length, consistent with a passage or loading bay. Combined with traces of decomposed wood and marine silt, the interior layout strongly resembled the three-deck design outlined in Genesis 6:16. Another chilling detail emerged from the chemical analysis. Embedded compounds resembling polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, commonly released from burnt organic material, were found in several interior layers. This suggests that whatever once occupied the inside was subjected to heat or combustion. Was it a fire, a sacrificial event, or just time cooking the remains through pressure and decay? The terrifying realization is this. If this was a vessel, it wasn't just a mode of transport. It was a shelter from catastrophe, and the soil inside doesn't contain bones or treasure. It contains silence. The silence of something that once bore life, floated through death, and came to rest in stone. Now, after decades of debate and years of scanning, only one thing remains untouched: the core. Beneath the outer shell, within the mound's heart, lies the final unknown. And what we decide to do next, to dig, to wait, to walk away, may change how history remembers us. Because in this final layer may lie the oldest story of all, what remains and the final questions. Despite all the data gathered between 1959 and 2024, the core of the Darupanar site remains untouched. The formation is intact, sealed beneath layers of compressed soil, ice, and time. No excavation has reached the deeper chambers. That decision is deliberate, a mix of preservation, politics, and peril. But it also means one truth. Whatever is inside has yet to be fully revealed. The lingering questions continue to haunt researchers. Who built this? If it was a vessel, was it the Ark of Genesis, or another forgotten ship from another flood? What happened to the people who used it? Are there carvings inside, tools, even DNA traces left from animals or humans? Or is this merely a powerful illusion, a geological shape that coincides, coincidentally, with our oldest fears. Future plans, as of late 2024, include targeted core drilling, radiocarbon verification, and international peer review publication. The Turkish government has restricted invasive work, but new partnerships with institutions in Europe and North America may change that. Over the next 3 to 5 years, these actions could determine the truth and seal the site's legacy, either as myth confirmed or mystery closed. But even without answers, the site already matters. It forces us to reconsider how ancient people remembered trauma. It pushes us to ask whether history is buried deeper than we imagined. And it humbles us with the possibility that a civilization long gone, faced with disaster, once built something to ride out the storm. Whether that's metaphor or memory, the stone keeps the secret. So, what do we do with this? A mound in the mountains? A shape that shouldn't exist? Measurements that mirror sacred text? Scans that whisper of architecture beneath solid rock? And inside, not gold, not artifacts, but something harder to explain. A chemical ghost of wood, marine sediment far from any ocean, and corridors too straight to be chance. If this is Noah's Ark, then we've just made contact with something prehistoric. Not just a myth, but a message preserved through the bones of the earth. And that message isn't salvation, it's survival. It's catastrophe remembered. It's proof that our ancestors didn't just tell stories. They left us records of what the world can do when pushed to its edge. We live in a time when floods rise again, when the sky burns hotter and the oceans crawl farther inland each year. So, perhaps the Ark wasn't just meant for Noah. Perhaps it was a signal that civilizations can fall, but they can also build. That when disaster comes, some choose to carve their response into mountains. And now, it's our turn to listen. Will we dig deeper, not just into the soil, but into our history, our myths, our warnings? Or will we walk away, claiming it's just coincidence? Because the real terror isn't what lies inside that mound. The real terror is what happens if we ignore it.